Last Christmas, I made my sister this portrait of her dog, inspired by the viral peanut butter painting with your dog trend. This year, I'm repeating the process for my dad with a picture of our dog. What's special about this painting is that I'm going to need some help from my dog with making it, so come along as we begin. I'm starting with an underpainting of colors that I don't want as prominent in the final painting, so lots of reds, magenta, pink, and violet. I did this to avoid any blank canvas peeking through the final painting. I used watered down acrylic paint and splashed some rubbing alcohol on top of the wet canvas to create these interesting cells where the paint began to separate. I also made sure to cover the edges of the canvas so I don't need to frame it later once it's finished. At this point, I'm going to cover the canvas in a variety of colors. I am painting in my bed, but I'm being very careful to avoid getting any on my sheets. As you can see, I'm being pretty generous with the amount of acrylic paint I'm using here. I probably used a little bit too much paint, but that's okay, it should still work out. Next, you're supposed to put the canvas inside of a large Ziploc bag. I don't have one big enough for this canvas, so I wrapped mine in 2 grocery bags, one on each side of the canvas. For this next step, I have relocated to my bathroom because I'm ready for my dog to help me now. I have removed any rugs from the room since this will be getting messy. I'm wrapping my canvas in a bunch of plastic bags just to be extra safe that my dog doesn't eat any of the paint beneath the plastic bags. I'm almost ready for his help. All I have to do now is spread a thin layer of peanut butter on top of the plastic. I checked the ingredients on the peanut butter I'm using just to make sure there's no xylitol added, since this isn't good for dogs. If you can't use peanut butter, I'm sure something like yogurt would work too. My special helper has now joined me, and I've closed the door so he is ready to get to work. As he licks the peanut butter, the paint that's underneath the plastic will start to spread, and this is the background that I am going to paint my portrait of him on top of later. I like that instead of this just being my painting of him, it's a painting of him that he actually made with me, and I think that's really special. Now that he's all done licking the plastic, I'm going to let him lick my spatula, and then I'm going to send him on his way so I can unwrap this painting and see what's underneath. Off to the side, you can see this big ball of plastic wrap, and it just shows how much I used, just because I want it to be really safe that my dog didn't eat any paint. I'm lifting up the plastic really gently just because I don't want to disturb my dog's painting too much and mess it up much from how it was originally painted. Off to the side, I have a canvas that I'm just going to go ahead and stamp the plastic I peeled off onto. This is just because I don't want to waste any paint, and I know I'll use that canvas at some point for something else anyway, and it looks cool when it's all stamped down. For the remaining bag, I'm actually going to cut it so I can peel it off easier. And just like last time, I'm stamping the plastic onto that canvas and letting the imprint leave its mark there as well. Some paint did get on the tile, but I am able to wipe the paint off and scrub any dried bits off. This is why I removed any carpets from the room before I started. So here is what his lick painting looks like after I peeled the plastic off. There's a few spots at the bottom of the painting that were missed, so I just used my finger to spread some of the puddles of paint just a little bit in those corners, just to cover a little bit more of that red. I've let the painting dry for a few days just because those layers of acrylic were so thick that they took longer than usual to dry. After this, we're back in the bathroom so he can sign his artwork with his paw prints. For this step, I'm using an acrylic craft paint like Apple Barrel, something like this that's clearly listed as non-toxic just to be extra safe in case any paint is ingested. I have some peanut butter off to the side as an attempted distraction while I take his paw prints. I have almost no footage of his paw prints because he got a little bit out of control. My plan was for the finished project to look like he had just ran all over the painting, since I figured it would kind of match his personality. This is why I also used multiple colors of paint for the paw prints. As you can see, this made a huge mess, which I wiped off with paper towel and an all-purpose spray cleaner before giving my friend a bath to get any paint off his paws. I'm doing this before he gets to leave the bathroom just to make sure that no paint gets anywhere in the house. And here is the finished canvas and some close-ups of the visible paw prints that stood out to me. I hope you liked this video. Make sure to follow along for part 2 when I paint his portrait.